Full count to Mauer. A high blast to center field. Going back is Hicks.
Go ahead.
Ball is gone. A grand slam. Only one swing in the whole at bat, and it's a grand slam.
I just think he's got the ability not to let emotion or moments, overtake his ability to perform. And when you can trust yourself and that you're going to still recognize, have a plan, not be afraid to, go deep in counts, all those things that he's been, marvelous at for a long, long time.
It's been a homestand marked by dramatic moments and great weather, and the Twins are hoping for more of the same tonight as the homestand comes to a close. The final game of the season series between the Yankees and the Twins. The Twins-Yankees series is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs, and it is another gorgeous night for baseball at Target Field, and we are very happy to have you with us here at Target Field. Dick Bramer joined again tonight by Justin Morneau and Roy Smalley. I think it's fair to say that the Twins in their 58 years have had more than their share of great hitters. They've had league MVPs, home run champions, batting champions. Joe Mauer last night continues to climb up the chart of some pretty marquee names on the Twins hit list.
Yeah, most of the guys that are ahead of him, either the numbers on the wall or they're in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So I think his number will be up there with those guys at some point, and he's just showing us that he's not ready to put his number up on that wall quite yet. And I think as Twins fans and as friends, we're all hopeful that he's going to continue to do that for a few more years. But whatever he decides to do, he's showing that he belongs in that batter's box against the best in the league every single night. And when the moment gets bigger, he doesn't get overexcited. He manages to calm himself down and have great at bats like he did last night.
And one of the great misconceptions I think about Joe is that he doesn't deliver in the clutch, when in fact he's been one of the best clutch hitters of his generation.
Gene Mauch was asked about Reggie Jackson one time. How can he be Mr. October? How does he elevate his game in the postseason to be named Mr. October? And Mauch said, Reggie doesn't elevate his game. Reggie stays to being Reggie. He lets the pitcher come down to a completely lower level. Well, that is quintessential Joe Mauer. And that home run last night was the quintessential example of how he spends every at-bat that he walks up there, waiting for the pitcher to do something that is less than the pitcher's best ability, because that man will be having his best ability at the plate.
Back in the lineup again tonight, the Twins have a chance to win the series against the Yankees. They haven't done that in quite a while. And the Yankees in the second half of the season haven't lost many series at all. Should be a fun night of baseball from Target Field. On Fox Sports North is presented by Century Link, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by Northland Ford. Visit buyfordnow.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. Twins fans know all too well that 5 times the Yankees have dashed their playoff hopes. Tonight, the Yankees have a chance, or the Twins have a chance, to crimp New York's hopes of hosting the wild card game, the final game of the series, coming up next. Yankees have been 34-9 in series since the middle of April, on their way, it appears, to a 100-win season. And the Yankees start tonight 2 games ahead of Oakland for the #1 wild card spot that would result in their playing host to the wild card game like they did last year, hosting the Twins. The Menards batting order for the Yankees. Andrew McCutchen's been on base 8 times already in the first 2 games of this series. Then it's Aaron Hicks, Miguel Andujar, Giancarlo Stanton, Didi Gregorius, Gary Sanchez, Luke Voigt, Greg Bird, and Gleyber Torres.
Home furniture starting pitcher for the Twins tonight, Jake Odorizzi. Heard Jack Morris talk about him in the pregame show. As you see his numbers there, we know about his ability to throw high fastballs effectively. He's got to have command of his secondary pitches.
And he's faced this Yankees lineup quite a bit, being in the AL East for a few years with Tampa, so he knows these hitters well. They know him well. He's faced most of these guys quite a bit, so he said, I asked him before the game if he's ready. He said, it's my turn to beat these guys, so hopefully he takes that positive mindset into this game.
Twins out in the field with Jake Cave anchoring the outfield again. Over his right shoulder, it's Robbie Grossman. Over his left, Max Kepler. On the infield, left side, A-Ray Adrianza, Jorge Polanco, Logan Forsythe, Joe Mauer on the right side, and Mitch Garver behind the plate. Mitch getting a chance to catch last night. It was Williams Astudillo. And Jake Odorizzi, who in his last start gave up a couple of 2-run home runs to the Houston Astros, lasted 4 2/3 innings, was approaching 100 pitches. It's been an issue for Jake all year long. And the first pitch taken for strike 1 by McCutchen. A lot of walks for McCutchen in this series. Done a great job setting the table for what follows in this Yankee lineup. And the pitch is up.
You see Jake going right to his bread and butter, the high fastball. He got the got the first called for a strike. Looked like it might have been a little high. That's really good news for Jake if the umpire's calling that high fastball.
And now 2-1.
It's interesting to me to see where Garver's setting up early in this game. He's almost half a body off the plate, like he's trying to get Jake that feeling of extension, get all the way through the ball. He's giving him that target a little bit off so that if he misses and it runs back over, it's running back over to the corner of the plate as opposed to running back over the middle.
And now 3-1. In his last start, Odorizzi walked 4 in 4 2/3 innings.
That's not a recipe for success against this Yankee ball club.
Hicks on deck, and there is a strike. And now McCutcheon's taken 5 pitches. Odorizzi faced the Yankees in New York. It didn't go particularly well on April 23rd. Fouled back, 5 earned runs, a couple of home runs in 4 2/3 innings.
And after Taylor Rogers pitched 2 innings last night, we're not sure how available he will be in this ball game tonight. So to get some length out of Jake Odorizzi in this game, without having one of the hottest pitchers in baseball and their primary setup man available, they need a little bit more length. He's got to pitch deeper into this ball game.
Wrapped behind third, picked up nicely. Adrianza fires across and gets McCutcheon by a full stride. Nice play by A-Ray Adrianza.
That goes to show you how good of an athlete he is and how much arm strength he has, because he didn't really have time to stop and throw. He sets his feet. The throw took him off balance a little bit, and he's fading away from first base, and to be able to throw that ball without bouncing it tells me that he's got above average arm strength and he can play any position on the field. That was a terrific play.
1 down, and now Hicks. The reason we said the Twins have a chance to crimp New York's plans of hosting the wild card game, they have a 2-game lead starting play tonight, but they have started play in Baltimore. They're only in the 3rd inning, and Oakland's already leading 10-0. So if that game doesn't get turned around, and if the Twins can beat the Yankees, their lead over Oakland for the first wild card spot would be just 1 game.
And you know, sitting in that dugout facing that out of town scoreboard, that those Yankees, they'll tell you that they're not paying attention to that, but you see that score, and it puts a little added pressure on you to go, okay, we need to win this ball game tonight, otherwise we're going to be within 1 game. And you know, 2 games, 1 game, obviously it's a different number, but the feeling of pressure of having a 1-game lead compared to 2 games, there's no room for error. And you know, you start to feel that a little bit. It creeps in, because if this Yankee team doesn't finish ahead, they have to go to Oakland. That's a whole different ball game.
1-1 to Hicks. Swing and a foul. Roy, were you a scoreboard watcher?
I wasn't really. I was aware of what was going on, but you know, when we won in '87, we were trying to win in '87. You know, I was 35 years old. I mean, I played, you know, for 12 or 13 years, and I knew it was just, we had to do what we had to do.
Right. 1-2. Fly ball down the left field line. A very long run for Grossman. Polanco's after it, and Grossman makes it. Oh, he almost made a sliding catch. Had it in the glove, and then when the glove hit the ground, the ball rolled free.
And that's a tough play. If they're in regular defense, you know, without the shift, Adrianza has no chance on that ball, playing it deep short. Grossman's there, and he unfortunately couldn't hang on. That was a great effort. Ran a long way for that ball.
Now, I'll just comment from the fan standpoint. It's a lot of fun when you've got a magic number of 8 and you close your eyes at night and it's 6. When the other guys lose and your team wins, that's a lot of fun to take 2 off that magic number.
I remember those days in the Dome, the magic number guy.
Yeah.
Sitting up there counting it down for us, so we were aware of it. But like Roy said, you have to take care of your own business. But
well, now we're gonna. A little caveat here. You're talking about scoreboard watching on September 12th, or, you know, 7 days, 8 days, when the magic number's 8 or 7 or 6.
Right.
You bet I was watching.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, like scoreboard watching in the middle of May.
Yeah, I mean, the 1st of September, not so much. September 25th, yeah, I was watching.
1-2 to Hicks. And another foul ball. So, yeah, the commentary from the booth here all year long has been Odorizzi runs the pitch count up high, and we're seeing why. It's not necessarily a lot of walks, although he did walk 4 in his last outing, but it's all the foul ball.
It's mostly the lack of a put-away pitch that has been Jake's biggest problem, and those are the command that really is the command of the secondary pitches that he has not really had consistently this year.
There's another foul ball and another not wasted pitch, but 7 pitches in this at bat.
And this is the difference of Aaron Hicks with the Twins and Aaron Hicks with the Yankees.
Yeah.
These at bats would be over usually after 3 or 4 pitches, and now he's figured out how to battle. He's figured out how to spoil pitches, and this is why he's hitting at the top of the lineup for these guys. A very good hitting lineup, and he's right up there at the top doing his job in the second spot, setting up for the big boys to tire the pitcher out, even if he doesn't have a productive a hit right here, if it's still a productive at bat. So
and that pitch right there, to your point, he swung at that. I guarantee you that's a swing and miss when he was with the Twins. He swung at that curveball in the dirt time after time after time, and he's figured out a way to get some pitch recognition early, much better. He's laying off those pitches that used to strike him out on a regular basis.
Now 2-2. High fly to short right. Hanging up for Kepler. It's Forsythe in short right makes the catch. 2 down. Yankees have been blessed to have a couple of impact rookies, Miguel Andujar and Gleyber Torres.
40 doubles for a rookie is that's good for anyone who's been in the league for 7 or 8 years, but to come in as a rookie, 40 and 23, scoring runs, driving in runs, in a very difficult place for young players to play, and he proves that he's belonging. And looks like they have an answer there for a while.
Half swing on a strike. Yeah, the assumption was by people not in the know was that Manny Machado, if not this year, next year, would sign with the Yankees. Well, it doesn't appear that the Yankees are in need of a third baseman or a shortstop. So wherever Machado lands, and it might be with the Dodgers, but wherever he lands, it's hard to imagine him replacing either Gregorius or the third baseman now Andujar.
And I mean, the way today's game is, with players moving all over the place, all the shifts, everything else, I think it would be a shame to sign Machado and put him at first base with his arm strength, his athleticism.
I can't do that. I agree.
But if you're looking at a bat, I mean, I think the bat you'd go after first this offseason.
Dribbled foul up the line, still 2 strikes.
And no offense to Bryce Harper, but Machado's been healthier for the most part in his career. He's been more consistent in his career. Bryce Harper's still young. They're both still young players, and Bryce Harper's ceiling, he can still continue to get better, but to this point, I feel like Machado's just been the more consistent of the two.
I agree with that, and what would be interesting is to see what the Yankees think of Andujar as a third baseman defensively, because the other option is to put him in the outfield. I would imagine he's a pretty good athlete, and I think that I'm not saying that they would do that. They probably think Andujar's their third baseman. It just depends on how badly they're saying, now what if we had Machado in that lineup? What would be where would we put everybody?
The only thing it does to me, though, it makes them a little more right-handed heavy than they probably want to be, I think.
Exactly.
In the dirt. Who would he elbow out of the Yankee outfield? Aaron Judge? Giancarlo Stanton?
Well, they could rotate him through the DH,
right,
that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I haven't given up on Greg Bird at first base either. He's a guy that showed a lot as a rookie. He's battled a ton of injuries. He hasn't had a whole lot of at-bats, and they need a left-handed bat. And I still think he could be the answer for them, and we'll see him hitting 8th tonight. So not having a great year, but he still has that upside that I think he can help this ball club.
2-2. And now full count with Stanton on deck.
Once again, we go to 22 pitches already, and we're going to be at least 23 before the inning's over, and that's been Odorizzi's Achilles heel, his inability put guys away after he gets 2 strikes, or to have them put balls in play when he gets to 2 strikes.
Roller into the shift with Forsythe there to pick it up and end the inning. A 1-2-3 first for Jake Odorizzi. Losses throughout this homestand, but he'd like to break that stretch that streak, that pattern after last night's Twins win. Menard's batting order for the Twins has Joe Mauer in the leadoff spot, then Jorge Polanco, Eddie Rosario, Robbie Grossman, Logan Forsythe, Jake Cave, Mitch Garver, Max Kepler, and A-Ray Adrianza.
And the home furniture starting pitcher for the Yankees, Luis Severino. He of the so far 2 halves of the season, absolutely dominant in the first half, not so good the second half.
It still has above average stuff, so just because the last few starts haven't gone that well for him doesn't mean the Twins don't have to be ready for one of the best pitchers in baseball right here.
Fastball on the outside corner. Twins faced him twice last year in mid-September, and they knocked him out after 3 innings. Then he was the starter in the wild card game, and the Twins knocked him out after a third of an inning. Mauer takes outside, so in his 2 starts against the Twins last year, he gave up 6 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings. 1 in the regular season, 1 start in the postseason. 1-1 to Mauer. Tap foul, 1-2.
So I was at that game in New York, that playoff game, and I was standing cheering. I was thinking, this is it. We finally got him. We're finally. And then there was the rest of the game to play, and it just didn't quite work out that way.
Reserve Santana had arguably his worst start of the year for the Twins last year, and speculation that middle finger was bothering him toward the end of the season last year. But again, as we said last night, that game was tied going to the bottom of the 4th, and the Twins stopped scoring and the Yankees didn't. The Yankee bullpen had a lot to do with that, of course. 2-2 to Mauer to get things started in the bottom of the 1st. And foul again.
And as we'll see early in this game, he's got overpowering everything. His fastball, top 5 in average fastball velocity for starting pitchers. He's got a power changeup, a power slider. Everything's 89, 90 to 98, 99 miles an hour. So you just have to pick one, and you try and shrink that strike zone a little bit and try and get him down, because it's hard to catch up with that much velocity up in the zone.
Sharply hit toward the hole, bobbled by the second baseman Torres, and Mauer will start the game with an infield hit. Sharp ground ball hit between Gregorius and Torres. The Twins have the leadoff man on. Let's check out the Yankees in the field. Stanton, Hicks, McCutchen in the outfield, and Duhar, Gregorius, Torres, and Bird the infielders. Gary Sanchez behind the plate. Bird getting a chance with the right-hander on the mound to get some at-bats. Down in the order, albeit, but get some at bats and play first base.
A great example right there, watching even against Joe. The way the ball comes out of Severino's hand, it is such a smooth delivery, and his arm speed doesn't look like he's max effort. It's nice and smooth, and then it's 97, 98. The ball just explodes out of his hand. There, like that one.
1-1 to Polanco. Right back to the mound. Forced at second and a double play. 1-6-3, 2 down. So Severino with a little bit of a tumble on the backside of the mound here.
Nice slider right there. That wasn't the power one Justin was talking about. It was up a little bit, but it still got in enough on Polanco. Severino did a nice job, took his time, gave Gregorius a good throw, and Gregorius could make an easy turn.
Eddie Rosario wanted to play last night. Paul Molitor said, let's just wait one more day and put him in the lineup tonight as the designated hitter. Outside ball 1. It was Rosario who essentially knocked out Severino in the wild card game last year. Dozier started the game with a home run. There was a runner aboard. Then Rosario hit one into the bleachers in right, and that was it. Yankees turned the game over to their bullpen. 1-1 to Rosario. 1-2.
And it's hard to imagine being out front of a 90-mile-an-hour slider, but because he's got so much velocity, he's got that free, easy delivery, and all of a sudden that ball just jumps on you.
Woo. Severino thought it hit the corner. I thought it hit the corner. Sean Barber said it did not.
I'm always on the side of the hitter.
Sometimes you take pitches just because you can't hit it. You just take and hope.
And now 3-2. Saw the graphic a moment ago. The Twins have played really good baseball here at home, 42-31. Hoping to finish this homestand with a 4-2 mark. Grossman on deck. And an off-speed pitch gets a swing and a miss. Despite the leadoff single, Severino faces just 3 men on the first.
series from the Yankees. We start the second inning here at Target Field with our scoop from the clubhouse. Eddie Rosario just batted in the bottom of the first inning, struck out there, but he is back in the lineup as the DH, easing back into game action. He is not back to 100% yet, coming off that strained quad, but Paul Molitor said today his at-bats are just that important to this team. And the Twins are back to a traditional starter tonight. That opener primary pitcher setup kind of creates some murky titles for pitchers, which Molitor said you just have to forget about. He does not want his players getting caught up in that. So just prove your value, whatever the role is, it'll usually work itself out. And Taylor Rogers has proven his value this season. He's gone 19 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. And when I asked Taylor about it today, he said it's mostly mental. He's just focused on taking care of today's obstacles, today, not getting ahead of himself, not looking back. Taylor's just simplified things, guys. It has really worked well for him lately.
Been among the more effective left-handed relievers in the game since the All-Star break. 1-2 to Stanton. Thank you, Marty. Gregorius and Sanchez will follow.
Stanton's had a rough road trip. I hope it continues one more night. For a guy who hits so well at home and has a swing tailored to that ballpark, it hasn't translated, at least on this road trip. So you just hope he stays asleep for another night and Twins get through it, because this is a very dangerous hitter.
Off the plate, another full count. First year with the Yankees, and Stanton's hit .364 against Twins pitching with 1 home run. And he took a walk to lead off the second inning. We'll bring up Gregorius. Tonight's Indeed player resume concentrates on Didi Gregorius, and he has been an offensive and defensive highlight reel maker for the Yankees.
He's a terrific player, and you can see by his ranks among Major League Baseball shortstops what an impact player he is. And as I said in the open of our show, when you have a guy that shortstop can make all the plays and can impact an offense as much as he does, he really got some.
And Odorizzi delivers low, ball 1.
And I think I said this last night, it's very rarely you can say a guy's overlooked playing in New York. But when you're in a league that has Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, even Corey Seager, who's been hurt, but his numbers are right there with those guys, and he's been as good as, or near as good as they've been since he's been in New York. So he belongs in that conversation. And he hits in the middle of his lineup. He has consistent at bats. He drives in runs. And he's missed a little bit of time this year, but he's a guy that they really depend on. And I'm not sure they knew how good he was going to be when they traded for him, but he's done a fantastic job.
I actually think that he is the most important cog in this lineup. I think he's the glue between all the home run hitters.
High pop up short right. Forsythe looking up into the twilight and makes the catch in front of Kepler again. 1 away. Well, Roy and I were talking in the pregame show. Most of the time when you have an iconic player, a Kirby Puckett type, the transition is hardly seamless, and it took the Twins a long while before they eventually settled on another great center fielder in Torrey Hunter. But there was a gap there of about 5 to 7 years. Kirby had moved to right field, and they were looking for somebody to take over in center. You know, Ripken in Baltimore played short all those years, and J.J. Hardy was fine for a few years, but he wasn't that type of player. And so now here in New York, and the biggest market there is, the biggest marquee team in the game, and they went from Jeter to Gregorius and hardly missed a beat.
Yeah, anytime you're replacing a Hall of Famer, that's something that I think as a player, though, like for me, it was obviously a different situation, but when I came up, we traded Mankiewicz. Mankiewicz was loved by a lot of Twins fans. A little different story. I think I tried to do a little too much at first, but then later in my career, I got to go to Colorado, and I got to play after Todd Helton, who was there forever, you know, all the franchise marks, leading all-time hits as a Rocky and all the rest of it. And, you know, people said, how do you feel about replacing him? And I said, I never played with him. It would be different if he was a teammate, you know, if I knew, if I was around, got to see him every day.
Right.
But I never saw it as him replacing it because we were different players. I just tried to be myself. And maybe if I was a younger player coming up through the Rockies system and you know, knew who he was, I was blocked by him, and then I knew I finally get up there and had to do what he did. I never looked at it that way as my career went on. So it was a learning experience early, and I think him playing for another major league organization in Gregorius, I think that probably helped with his transition, knowing that he belongs in the big leagues, knowing that they traded for him for a reason, and knowing that he's surrounded by other great players, that sometimes you don't put that added pressure that you don't need, and that learning experience from those early days, I'm sure it helped me, and I'm sure it's helped him.
Sanchez, the batter. The count's 1-1. 35th pitch for Odorizzi. Wrap to third. Should get 2 here. There's 1. And Forsythe dropped the ball, trying to make the exchange and deliver the throw.
And this, Roy, I'm not sure, but me looking at this is a hard double play to turn. This is one of the questions of the shifts that I have. At the angle where he's running from the third base side of the bag towards, he had enough time on that ball to get his feet set, and he lost the handle. But anytime as a middle infielder, you can speak to this a little better than I can, but when you're running from the same position as same side of where the ball's hit, and you're kind of hitting that guy on a run like you're a quarterback trying to hit a receiver, it's a little difficult to feel comfortable around the bag. And from the first base side, same thing, trying to hit that guy on the run at a completely different angle than you're used to. It can make turning those double plays difficult, and you have to turn those double plays.
I think that's right. I think that I've wondered about that since we've been watching the shifts, and I've wondered when they were going to get to a situation where it really was hitting somebody on the run to try to make the pivot, especially on the same side of the field as you're saying. That time Forsythe got there early enough. That wasn't the issue, but it's going to be. You see where Forsythe is right now. The ball's hit. He's got to run to the bag from the same side as the throw is coming, and fortunately there he got there quickly enough. I don't think that affected him so much, but it's going to. One of these times, Justin's right.
Oh.
It's gonna occur. Garver just took a shot.
Yeah, right against the side of the mask, and it looked like it was staggered in.
Oof, that squared him up. That's
yeah.
Yeah, he had a little stagger in the end of that. We'll come out, give him a little extra time. You don't want to mess around with that stuff, so.
You know that.
You started your pro career behind the plate. Probably one of the best things that ever happened to you was getting out from behind the plate.
I don't know. I loved catching.
Did you really?
All I ever wanted to be was a catcher. All I ever wanted to be was a catcher and a goalie. And I was 6 years old. I played on my brother's 8- and 9-year-old team, and I caught, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was, you're in command of the game. Everything, you see everything that goes on. You work with that pitcher. You're thinking the game as it's going on. Obviously, I wasn't doing that as a 6-year-old, but you know, when you remember how you pitched the guy the last time, there's so much more going on. And for me, as a guy who tend to overthink things as a hitter, catching helped, because when I was over there, I was having a conversation with the pitcher in the dugout. I wasn't thinking about my at-bats in between. I was thinking about how I'm going to get my guy through the next inning. As we see, Garver looks like he's going to stay in the game. He looks all right, but you know, you think the game a lot differently as a catcher, and you get away from yourself and you think about the team, and sometimes that helped me a lot. It took me a long time at first base to not take my at-bats into the field because I wasn't thinking through every pitch like I was as a catcher.
1-2 to Voigt. Two and two. Voigt, the Yankee designated hitter, played first base last night. Only one infielder on the right side, and he's holding the runner. Yankees with a 90 and 55 mark, third best in the big leagues. Behind Boston, of course, and Houston. Breaking ball got him. Leadoff walk does no damage, and we are still scoreless. Faced just 3 men in the first, and Miguel Sano, our Sanford Health injury report, being told, I guess, what happened to Mitch Garver perhaps behind the plate. Missing his 7th straight game. Hopes to return this weekend against the Royals. Paul Molitor said, let's pump the brakes on that just a little bit. We'll see how he does, but he's been doing some baseball activities and gradually hopes to get back in the lineup. Williams Astudillo has a batting helmet on, suggesting that maybe Mitch Garver might have to leave the game, and that's of concern. Here's Robbie Grossman. He'll be followed by Forsythe and Cave, and then it appears Astudillo. A strike, now a ball. Severino, as I think Roy suggested earlier, has had 2 different seasons. He was just tremendous in the first half. But in his last 11 starts, he's completed 6 innings only twice.
And his pitch count, he's thrown over 100 pitches a whole bunch of times this year, and you wonder,
2-2.
You know, for a guy who's not 8-10 years into his career, how much that's affected him being the ace on this staff. You have to wonder if fatigue is set in. You know.
Line drive hit right to Gregorius, 1 away. Well, something is not what it was in the first half, and the Yankees have about 2.5 weeks to figure it out. It is presumed that either in New York or in Oakland they'll be in the wild card game. Do you start a guy who was the leader of your staff in the first half but tailed off badly, or do you go somewhere else? Maybe Jay Happ, a veteran.
I think you have to go with your best arm.
I agree with that, and it's gonna depend on how the pitchers pitched against the Oakland hitters and what the manager Aaron Boone thinks about whoever he's deciding on starting against those Oakland hitters.
And whether the Oakland lineup's right-hand heavy, left-hand heavy, you know, that'll depend on, you know, because Oakland being a team that's pretty big in platoons and all the rest of that stuff. You know, if you happen to start the lefty, does it keep this guy on the bench? If you start the righty, does it keep this guy on the bench? And I think that'll factor into the decision. Also, how well they pitched the last 2 weeks.
Inside, not caught by Sanchez, and it's 2-1.
Well, I agree with Dick, though. I think that if I'm Aaron Boone and the pitching coach over there, I'm watching how he. And hoping we get Severino figured out, because that's the stuff you want going out there.
Larry Rothschild in the foreground, Aaron Boone in the background. 2-2.
And for a Yankee team whose expectation is to win the World Series, not just win the wild card game, you know, that's one of those ones where you need to get him right. Whether you start Happ and you win the wild card game, then he ends up starting game 1 of the playoffs. So you're going to need him either in the first game or the second game, and you need him to be as good as he can be. And I think, you know, the velocity's still there. I think sometimes when guys get tired, their command is what goes. You know, the velocity, you still are able to throw the ball hard. You just can't throw it where you want to. And as you see all the time.
That's a Tapper foul just wide of the bag. Oh my goodness, look at the throw.
I was going to say, as you see all the time in the big leagues, if you can throw 100 miles an hour, eventually major league hitters figure that out, and they can square it up. If you can put the ball where you want to, that's when you have success. So I think it was fortunate, or maybe unfortunate for the Twins that this ball ended up foul, because it would have run on first right there.
It looks like an outfielder's throw. That's what I was talking about in the first inning.
3-2 to Forsythe with 1 gone in the second.
I did that regularly from shortstop.
Yeah, reaching back for 98, putting it in a good spot, 2 down.
Well, as long as we're on Luis Severino and his struggles in the second half, the Pizza Ranch for the wins, don't let him up. Figure out a way. I think Justin's right. I think command has been the issue. You see, he's had the 3rd highest ERA in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break, and that is amazing for a guy with this kind of stuff. It's got to be command. So get on the fastball in the middle of the plate right there, but you got to hit that one.
And a 1 pitch out in the cave at bat, and a 1-2-3 second for Severino.
zeros on the scoreboard, and Fox Sports North was happy to announce today we are your home once again for Minnesota Wild hockey. 71 games in the regular season. You can see those right here on Fox Sports North, and special guests of the Twins tonight, the Minnesota Wild, including defenseman Ryan Suter. There are a lot of Wild players kind of scattered throughout the ballpark tonight. Here we go, Ryan. I mean, you guys are back at it tomorrow already. You ready for this?
Oh yeah, really looking forward to it, especially the way last season ended. So get back into it, and first game's in October, and really looking forward to that.
You were not here early enough, I don't think, today to take batting practice. You were on the field a little bit. What did your teammates who actually took BP tell you about that today?
They were saying they hit a lot of ground balls. They're saying it comes pretty fast. I think Doobie hit a couple good line drives. I think he bounced them up on the wall, but for the most part, they said it was hard.
Well, I watched most of it. I agree with that. You were one of the 5 guys, though, that threw out a ceremonial first pitch. What was that experience like?
It was fun. I told myself I will never throw out a first pitch, and next thing you know, I'm throwing out a first pitch. So it was fun, fun experience. It was fun to bring my whole crew here, brought my son with all his buddies. So.
The ones waving behind you?
Yeah, so we're having a great time.
That's the first time you've ever thrown out a first pitch at a baseball game?
It was. I've been offered it, and I just shut them down. I said, not a chance, but it was a lot easier with 4 other guys.
Did you throw a strike?
Right down the middle. It might have bounced a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to have you throw it back to the booth because Justin Morneau is in there. He is proof that hockey players can play baseball and baseball players can play hockey. What do you have to say to Justin?
He is proof. That's. I think I'm going to see Justin in a couple of weeks doing a charity event for the Ronald McDonald House. So it's great to see him back around, I guess.
Justin?
Well, now all the comments I was going to say making fun of watching those guys hit. Fortunately, he wasn't one of those guys hitting, but I haven't seen too many swing and misses in batting practice, and I always tell everyone how good athletes those hockey players are, but watching them swing today was another question I had for myself. We had.
When did you stop playing hockey competitively?
Let's see. March.
No, I mean, at what age did you focus on baseball?
17.
Okay, all right.
So that's kind of a lesson to all the parents who think their kids need to specialize in a sport when they're 8 or 9 years old or 10 years old. Don't do it.
Amen to that.
You saw Astudillo is in the game for Mitch Garver, who had to leave with what we presume to be concussion-like symptoms. Astudillo caught the game last night, and he'll catch almost all of it again here tonight. Chris Jimenez in the background there, also available to catch. 3-0, and a pitch fouled back. 3-1 to Gleyber Torres.
I played basketball in high school my senior year. I played hockey till I was a junior, I think, and I had a good summer playing baseball and was supposed to go to training camp for junior hockey, and I said, nope, I think I'm going to play baseball, and that was that. But
high fly to left, hit off the end of the bat a little bit. Grossman has to come in. That's out number 2. Analyze some of these swings here.
Hopefully this is the swing and miss. No.
Didn't get it out of the cage, though.
There was some good swings. They took some. It's hard. If you haven't hit, I asked some of the guys. They said they hadn't hit in 4 or 5 years. To go out there and be able to even make contact is impressive. But it's a good thing they can skate and shoot and hit, and they're tough. And I'm looking forward to watching those guys go to work soon, because that's how I spend a lot of my nights in the winter.
Hit hard down the line. Have either of you ever played golf with a hockey player?
Oh, sure.
It's really most of the time a really bad idea, because they have incredibly strong wrists and they have nothing to do in the summertime but play golf.
Well, that's the most significant component of them being such good golfers, which almost all of them are. But I've also got a theory about hockey players as golfers too. I think I've always wondered what they're long, of course, because they're strong. They understand how to hit a ball with a stick. I mean, they get that. But they always hit it down the middle. You know, they're very, very accurate. And I've stood behind them enough times. I think I understand why. It's because you hockey players, when you're shooting at the goal, it's always to center field. you're always, since you were a little kid, the hockey players are figuring out how to square up and hit and shoot the ball directly to what would be center field all the time. And I think they just get used to where that club head is and how to square it up to the ball.
I never thought of it that way, but that does actually make a lot of sense. Unless you're dumping it in the corner on a line change or something, every shot you're taking is directed, and you learn how to control your body, and you learn how to kind of get the angle to be able to hit, right down the middle, basically.
Down the middle, right. No matter where you are, you end up you're trying to hit it to center field.
McCutcheon down the line and deep again, but foul again. It's still 2-2.
Yeah, I've got to golf with Mark Parrish quite a bit, who played for the Wild and a couple other teams. He's a pretty good golfer, and he's taken batting practice with us. He took batting practice in the Dome. He hit a homer. He took batting practice in Target Field. He hit a homer. I think he may be more proud of that than playing in the NHL for 13 or 14 years or whatever it was. But yeah, those guys they're good. It's not a good person to pick a bet with on the golf course, that's for sure.
Off the plate, now full count again to McCutcheon. 5 walks in this series. Hicks on deck, but Odorizzi would like to get McCutcheon and have Hicks lead off the 4th inning. And a high fastball got him. And Odorizzi enjoys another 1-2-3 inning against the Yankees. Presented by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the on Fox Sports North is presented by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the Twin Cities. And by Grand Casino, the best stories start here. Williams Astudillo leading off the Twins' 3rd. First pitch, pop foul. It'll reach the seats, 1 strike. Astudillo on in relief, if you will, of Mitch Garver, who had to leave the ball game after taking a foul tip to the mask. Astudillo had 4 at-bats last night and saw 6 pitches. Tapper to short. Easy play for Gregorius, but requires a stretch at the other end by Bird. 1 down. The AARP take on Luis Severino in his career against the Twins. 2 starts counting the regular season and the postseason, and they were separated by only about 2 weeks. And they weren't very good. Dozier and Rosario hit home runs in the wild card game. He was taken out after 1/3 of an inning. Here's Kepler. Strike on the outside corner.
That Astudillo at bat, I talked about this last night, but there's no way he was looking for first pitch slider and to go and foul it off on the right side and then roll over on the next pitch slider. I'm not saying you can never get fooled, because I got fooled as much as anyone, but you have to have some type of plan, because in the big leagues they figure out.
Kepler to Bird. 2 quick outs.
They figure out if you're a guy who swings early, and if you swing early like that, you are going to get strikes to hit. They're just not going to be the strikes that you want to hit. And the opposite of the Joe Mauer at bat in the Grand Slam last night, he forced him in giving him something to hit. So you will see strikes, but they'll be borderline strikes. There'll be strikes that you can beat into the ground that, you know, they know you're going to swing. So they say, okay, well, I'm going to give him something he can hit. It's just not going to be anything very good to hit. And you never really force them into giving you your pitch. You end up hitting their pitch all the time.
Nothing has left the infield. And Severino has 9 outs in 9 plate appearances. On to the 4th. Game.
Jake Odorizzi pitch count a little bit high, but he's been able to navigate this Yankee lineup. 2 strikeouts. Command has been a little bit better. He's been effective with that ball up in the zone. And Luis Severino has been dominant. A lot less pitches. Made quick work quite a few of these Twins hitters. A lot of weak contact. And he's done a nice job lasting longer than he has combined in the last 2 starts against the Twins. So Twins need to find a way to get to him. And Odorizzi needs a quick inning, get the boys back in the dugout. Don't let Severino settle in any more than he already has. So you look for strike 1 and quick outs and you know, get the offense back in there.
Hicks and Duhar and Stanton in the Yankee 4th. Squaring to bunt and taking a strike. Hicks was ready to bunt the fastball, but he got a breaking ball instead. Or the split change perhaps. Took it for a strike.
But what that did, even if he didn't bunt, it draws in Adrianza at third base, and now he's got a lot more room on the left side of the field.
Swung on and missed. 0-2.
We see now with our shift tracker, our shift chart, we see the little dot third base following Adrianza up to shortstop. So now he's playing in the regular shortstop position. And you know, that technology is wonderful. When you can't see, we're looking at the hitter, we're looking at the pitcher, we don't know where those guys are. Now we can get a good idea of where that ball's going to be hit and where they're playing when it is hit.
1-2.
And you know what? When you're in a slump, when you're not swinging the bat well, that's about how close all the players look out there, all over the field.
Except it looks like there's like 6 more of them.
All 12 of them.
Yeah,
right.
all 15 players are just out there holding hands.
1-2, and the ball hit towards the hole, picked off by Forsythe, and a wonderful play by Logan Forsythe. Wow. Diving to his right, and with his back to first base, he did a 180 and threw him out.
And that's a fast runner right there. That's a terrific major league play. And the reason he gets to this ball is because the angle he took. He heads back towards center field, gives himself a chance to catch that ball deep. If he goes straight across, he doesn't have a chance, but you see him dive towards the outfield grass. He gives himself that angle, gets up quick, and with a strong arm makes a good throw and gets him by a step, which is surprising with a runner with that caliber of speed.
There's Andujar. Low ball 1. Yankees have been on the road for a week and a half. One of the reasons why they've got a 6-7 mark over the last 2 weeks. They've got a much more difficult schedule moving forward than the Oakland A's do. They've got 6 games with Boston, 3 in New York and 3 at Fenway Park. They hope to get Judge back. They hope to get Chapman back.
And we saw Judge taking early batting practice yesterday. I'm not sure if he hit today, but I saw him out there yesterday, and he hit, I don't know if he was testing his wrist or what he was doing, but he hit almost every single ball to right field. And he was hitting them in the flower boxes in right field. He was hitting them in the seats in right field. And to see a guy, working like that and hitting the ball the other way, no wonder he has success.
Drilled to center. Kay makes the catch for out number 2. And that'll bring up Stanton. Zubaz Palooza's back Friday, September 28th. Special ticket package includes a game ticket plus your very own limited edition Minnesota Twins Zubaz bands. Take advantage of the special offer available exclusively by logging on to twinsbaseball.com/Zubaz. And now Stanton. The Yankees still don't have a hit. The Twins have one, but it was an infield hit.
You're getting older when you have a fad that was a fad when you were a kid and it comes back again.
Meaning the Zubaz?
Yes. I had a pair of those when I was, I don't know, probably 3rd or 4th grade, and I got a pair of Vikings ones for Christmas a couple of years ago, and there you go.
Yeah.
And they're comfortable. I heard you guys talking about it the other night.
Yes, I think they're terribly comfortable and pleasing to the eye. Check swing 1-2.
Well, it was a bodybuilder designed them, right? I believe is the way they started. A comfortable kind of workout.
I want to say pro wrestler. Like
wrestler, or was it
the Road Warriors or something? I think were the first people that popularized them. 1-2. Tapper up the line, and that ball is foul. And now Odorizzi picks it up. He alertly waited to see whether it was going to roll back fair because Stanton was late in leaving the box.
I thought he hit his toe, and that's why he stopped, but obviously not. It's off the corner of the plate. Yeah, usually that ball has so much spin that it ends up kicking about 12 feet foul, and that thing almost stayed fair. Twins would have taken that break for sure.
Pitch is up now, 2-2. May have seen the ball actually landed behind the plate, but with the top spin, and if it comes over into fair territory where it lands really doesn't matter. It could still be a fair ball. 2-2. And a strikeout of Stanton, 4 no-hit innings for Jake Odorizzi in a scoreless game. On the right, each hit grand slams last night, part of our DQ combination. And let's flash back to the last time that happened. A little over 9 years ago in Oakland, the Twins with a Justin Morneau grand slam and 3-run home run later. Twins had a 10-0 lead and incredibly lost the game. What happened?
That was an unforgettable game and one that you wanted to forget right when it was over. It was we were up 10-0, I think, or 10-1, or whatever it was. We ended up losing 14-13, and Kadire got called out in the top of the 9th, sliding in, and to this day he's still safe. But the game, we ended up losing that game, and that was just heartbreaking.
2-0 now to Mauer. I remember the game very well. What was that? Holidays, one of his first games with Oakland. He had just left the Rockies, I believe, or his first year there, maybe, perhaps. 2-0 to Mauer. Got an infield hit in the first, the only hit so far in the game, in the whole game. There's a pitch down and in 3-0.
And I said in the pregame show, one of those guys is still playing.
But he retired and then came back.
Yep. That's not going to be me.
That's not, you're not coming back? 3-0 to Mauer. What do you think the chances are he takes here?
100%.
You know, one thing that was interesting about his grand slam, his 5th last night, and I don't think it's a coincidence, but all 5 of his grand slams have come with 2 strikes. I mean,
that's amazing.
It is.
It really is.
You know, they weren't on 3-1 pitches or 2-0 pitches.
But it just goes to show you that you can have a, I don't like to use the word short, but you know, you use your hands, you trust your hands, you let the ball travel, and the pitcher provides the power. I mean, 95 miles an hour will go if you get the good part of the bat on it.
Another strike, and much like last night, he's taken 5 pitches here, and the count is full.
And it's always so odd to me to see a shift against Joe Mauer. I never thought you'd see the day, but the numbers say that's where he's most likely to hit the ball, so they're playing there.
Nearly beat the infield shift again. This time Gregorius gets him by a step. Pretty much in the same direction where the infield hit went in the first inning. Tonight's BP Brighter Picture shines the spotlight on Jorge Polanco. Of course, he missed the first 80 games of the year, but over the last 13 he's been swinging the bat well. Good OPS. Hit a comebacker to the mound his first time up.
He's been very solid as a left-handed hitter. Of course, Jorge is a switch hitter. He's been very solid from the left side right from the beginning. Getting back into the lineup, into the swing of things. If you pardon the pun. Right-handed's been a little bit slower, but he's starting to swing the bat better right-handed as well.
Missing the outside corner twice. It's 2-0. Drive right center field. Chasing it is McCutcheon. Under it now for the catch and out number 2. First ball to leave the infield against Luis Severino. Saturday, every win is crucial as the Dodgers face the Cardinals in a heated matchup or catch the Nationals as they look to play spoiler to the Braves. It all happens at 11:30 Central on Fox, and the Twins taking on the Royals at 6 o'clock Central on FS1 and on the Fox Sports app. Big game tonight, the Brewer game at Wrigley. An early lead for the Brewers of 2-0. Strike 1 to Rosario. We both experienced it from a player. I can only imagine it this time of the year when you have everything to play for. Wake up in the morning and I'll bet you can't wait to get to the ballpark.
It's funny you brought up that Milwaukee-Chicago game. I looked out at the scoreboard and I went, man, how fun would it be to be playing right now in that game, because that's such a good rivalry, and you know the fans travel an hour in both directions to watch their team play in the other ballpark. And
golf to center, retreating is Hicks, still on the grass, and another 1-2-3 inning for Severino. He's got 12 outs from 12 batters. into the game. Last game of the homestand. The Twins have played pretty good baseball here for the most part here at home. And the Twins fans are hoping that Jake Odorizzi can put some more zeros up. It's been one of his better outings so far. He'll do much better than 4 no-hit innings against the Yankees. Gregorius, Sanchez, and Voit.
Interesting to see how he navigates second time through the middle part of this lineup. He's done a good job so far, keeping him in check.
1-0. Gregorius popped up to Forsythe in short right field his first time up. Drifts outside. 2-0.
There's 2 changeups in a row, and I have to temper our enthusiasm just a little bit. Jake's been getting away with some pitches up in the zone, and the secondary pitches, change up and sliders.
Just one.
Justin and I were talking during the break about the old backup slider that he's featuring. It's kind of a hanger that doesn't even quite hang. It just kind of spins and stays inside. McCutchen missed one high. Stanton missed one high. They've missed some pitches that they normally hit. High changeup.
Those pitches right there tend to get hit a long way.
Right. And this pitch right here. That's a pitch that struck. McCutchen swung through that pitch. Stanton swung through a very similar one. You're gonna have to be a little bit careful. You're gonna have to get back down in the zone on those.
Right off the end of the bat. Odorizzi into a slide. Comes up with a beautiful play. Jake Odorizzi on a swinging bunt makes a great play for the first out.
That's an athlete right there. That was fantastic. He's done it. You know, you can always tell pitchers who are athletes and take pride in their defense because they can make plays like that. I mean, that's a guy who played, I'm sure, shortstop growing up, or some defensive position. He wasn't just a pitcher, wasn't just a guy who got DH for from the time he was 12 years old. I mean, that's an athlete right there.
Sanchez reached in a fielder's choice, could have bounced into a double play, but Forsythe couldn't handle the exchange cleanly. Big swing and a miss. The only base runner the Yankees have had came from Stanton leading off the second inning. He drew a walk. One and one. And now 2-1. High 3-1.
This is a good count to throw something off speed right here to hit. For a guy who has basically one thought on his mind: pull a homer in a 3-1 count in a tie ball game. You pull the string on him, you might get him to roll over to third or short on something off speed right here.
And a pitch up high. Second walk issued by Odorizzi. The man aboard for Luke Voit.
Play the new Vikings scratch games from the Minnesota Lottery. With a top prize up to $100,000, it pays to be a fan.
Now Odorizzi will go after Voit. He struck him out to wrap up the second inning. And away, ball one. Odorizzi's biggest amount of innings pitched, his greatest workload, came 2 years ago when he pitched 187 2/3 innings. He won 10 ball games, had an ERA of 3.69. He won't get to that level this year. Instead looks to finish about 170 innings. Swung on and missed on the throw. Safe at second. Sanchez stealing second base.
But I think that was a hit and run, if I'm not mistaken. 1-0 count. That's a perfect count to hit and run. Whole right side of the field's open.
Well, the runner just kept looking at second base.
Almost a little dangerous slide right there. Unfortunately, the throw took him a little bit up the line towards first base, so he couldn't hold that tag on him when he popped up for that brief second. But that's something you don't see a whole lot of, especially with a power hitter at the plate and a guy who's not known for his speed on the bases. But when you have the whole right side of the field open when they're playing the shift like that, you're a guy who doesn't have above average velocity, a guy who's typically somewhere near the plate. You make contact right there, you got first and third, and in a 0-0 game, that's how you have to manufacture runs sometimes.
The only thing I can't figure out, we don't know Luke Voigt real well. We haven't seen a lot of his at bats, but that certainly wasn't a hit and run swing that he took at that ball. It wasn't a I'm going to make sure I make contact here kind of swing.
Driven hard to left field. Grossman's over to make a tumbling catch. Now the clubhouse guys will have about a week and a half to get the grass stains out of Grossman's home uniform here. Got some of the grass stains on his diving attempt in foul territory and added a few more grass stains on that nice catch 2 away.
He did a nice job here. A little changeup, that split changeup that he throws. So he's out front, right-handed hitter, and that ball's got some hook spin to it, some top spin, almost like a top spin lob in tennis, where that ball late starts just diving towards the ground, and Grossman stayed with it. Lucky his glove was on that hand to be able to lay out and catch that ball.
Here's Bird with a runner at second and 2 down. 1-1. Bird hit a fly ball to Kepler in right his first time up. Strike call.
This is that at bat we were talking about last night, where I'd love to see that left side of the field open. His thought probably isn't fastball in for a strike right here. If he comes inside, it's to set you up, to get you to roll over on the changeup or whatever it is. So you kind of eliminate that middle part of the plate and you look for something you can drive to the left side of the field. And even a simple ground ball to short will score the run right here.
1-2.
And obviously easier said than done. But
yeah, but the reason I like your idea about that is that that high fastball is not Bird's strength. He's not going to hit that ball. He's a low ball hitter, and if he's trying to hit the ball the other way, as you suggest, he's going to lay off that pitch. Trying to hit the ball over there, he's not going to swing at that high pitch. That's a I'm going to pull the ball swing up there, and I think that's a mistake for him.
Out nicely by Astudillo. Yankees have had 2 base runners, both of them on walks issued by Odorizzi.
And with the runner on second base right there, you see him set up late so that the runner on second can't relay location to the hitter. So he set up late, he had his feet in a good position, and did a nice job of blocking that ball.
.49 strikes for Odorizzi. Pitch number 88 coming. Five no-hit innings for Jake Odorizzi against the Yankees. Yankees this year. We've talked about how the Twins have played much better baseball at home. One of the reasons is Robbie Grossman. Look what he's done over the last 22 games here at Target Field.
And the biggest improvement has come from the left side. He's always been a good hitter right-handed. Had a terrific year right-handed last year, and good on-base percentage guy last year. Had a nice year, but he's gotten more chance to play now with the injury to Byron Buxton and various guys out of the lineup, and his left-handed swing has really come on.
It's funny, we talked about this I think off camera yesterday. You know, when a guy isn't expected to play a whole lot, he gets an opportunity, he takes advantage of it. Similar with Kepler's numbers off left-handed pitchers.
To center, playable for Hicks. One down. Before Forsythe's at bat, let's all hear from Marty Gelder.
Well, I have our T-Mobile built for baseball. Mets pitcher Jacob deGrom gave up 2 runs in 7 innings last night against the Marlins, and that helped deGrom set an MLB single-season record. He has allowed 3 runs or fewer in 26 consecutive starts. That is an incredible stretch. Still, the Mets lost to the Marlins 5-3 last night. deGrom is 8-9 this season, but his ERA is a Cy Young-like 1.71.
Be a very interesting Cy Young race in both leagues. What are you going to do in the National League? The guy clearly has been the best pitcher in the National League, but he's got a losing record. What about in the American League? Chris Sale has been the best pitcher. He may not have enough innings to qualify for the ERA title.
I don't know. I mean, that's, what do you do? I mean, you look at it and you go, it depends on what you value. And I think a lot of the sabermetrics people are valuing the win less than they used to. It's not as important, but the strikeouts and
2-2 to Forsythe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a historic season on the mound for a starting pitcher as far as ERA goes. And National League, you can help a little bit, but not much. But you can't really help how much run support you get and what the bullpen does after you hand them the ball.
Forsythe strikes out, 2 down. All the Twins have gotten against Severino is an infield hit to start the bottom of the first from Joe Mauer. And if Torres had fielded that cleanly back in the first inning, he very likely would have thrown Mauer out. 2 down, here's Cave. Last year, we talked about this before, there were only 8 pitchers in the league that threw 200 innings. This year, that number might be just 6. Kluber with 195, Verlander with 195. James Shields had a nice comeback year, 186 2/3. Keuchel 185 2/3, and Clevenger and Cole. Those might be the only 200 innings pitched guys in the whole American League.
I think for me, it's innings pitched and ERA. I think that's why I like Kluber and Verlander. Those guys that are throwing a lot. That ERA plays through a lot of innings out there, and they take their ball clubs late into ball games, so it starts getting into the the most valuable type of category for a pitcher.
Wow. Severino just
cruising. He is settled in.
Not a perfect game, but he's got 15 outs in 15 plate appearances. September 25th is Minnesota Timberwolves night at Target Field. A limited number of Timberwolves theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Twins Timberwolves co-branded cap. You can learn more at twinsbaseball.com/Timberwolves, or if you'd like, call 800-33-TWINS. Gleyber Torres to lead off the 6th against Jake Odorizzi. A breaking ball for a strike.
That's a dangerous number 9 hitter up there right now.
23 home runs, 70 runs batted in. 1-1.
And that's one of the benefits of having a deep team, a deep lineup. You break these rookies in. You're not forcing them to hit 3rd or 4th or 5th in the lineup. You give them a chance to get comfortable. We saw it with, in Houston with a third baseman there, Bregman.
Deep to center, chased by Cave, running toward the bullpen and making the catch 405 feet from home plate. Might be the best hit ball of the night for either team.
As we get into fall like it is, the wind starts blowing, temperatures get a little cool, ball doesn't carry quite like it does in the middle of summer, and that's a different play. Either during a day game or in the middle of summer, that ball might be out of here. But Jake Cave ran a long way for that ball, made a nice play. But back to the Bregman point, they had him hitting, I think you guys made this point when you were in Houston, that he was hitting 8th or 9th whenever.
Well, 9th last year when they were here, yeah.
And now he's one of the best hitters in the American League. So when you have a chance to bring a guy in, you're adding one guy at a time. You're adding one guy who you're not counting making the playoffs on, bringing him up from AAA. He doesn't feel the pressure that way. It gives him a chance to get comfortable, and you're seeing good numbers out of the rookies because they are surrounded by so many other good hitters.
1-0, and now 2-0.
And there's no doubt that those guys hit in the top of the order when they were in the minor leagues. They were number 1, 2, or 3. Whatever level they played at. Now, they still think of themselves that way, but they're getting pitched to like they're number 9 hitters, and they're doing a great job.
Two and 1 the count to Andrew McCutchen. He is tapped to 3rd, actually hit a sharp ground ball. Adrianza made a nice play on him in the 1st, then struck out in the 3rd. There's a called 2nd strike.
Another high slider or cut fastball. I think that one was supposed to be the slider. It's almost changeup speed. I really don't know what that is, but it's
big fly ball to left field. The replay you saw brought to you by Ram. There's out number 2. Going to bring up Hicks with the bases empty. Pitch count getting to the point where Odorizzi might be done after this inning, so he will have no chance to potentially complete a no-hitter. Twins bullpen might be in position to complete a combined no-hitter, which is a completely different animal, I know, but
the second highest scoring offense in baseball, if you're even to keep him down this long, is a really good job. But to think of a no-hitter and coming into this game thinking this was going to be a nothing game with Severino's struggles and Jake's recent struggles and the combination, that's why you just never know what you're going to get, and he's done a great job tonight.
Hicks swings through a 93-mile-per-hour fastball.
Are you going to take him out after this? No hits?
I think if he's Cole Stewart, with the innings limit and hasn't pitched, you're trying to protect those guys. Jake's been around. His stuff still looks dominant. He's been around long enough where he's pitched, 160 innings in a season. So I think his pitch count at the most can go up to maybe 115. So he gets Hicks right here. I think he'll come back out for the next inning, but you'll probably see some movement out there like we're starting to see in the bullpen now.
Well, I was being somewhat facetious or incredulous or something. I didn't mean he hadn't given up a hit yet. If I'm Jake, I want you to tell me how you're going to take me out of this ball game.
Threw a season high 112 pitches on June 28th in Chicago against the White Sox.
But if he's going to throw 115 pitches max, he's not going to complete the game. So you play to win, and you bring in. I understand what you're saying. How do you take a guy out who's throwing a no hitter?
How does Jake agree to go meekly to the locker room and throw 6 no-hit innings?
Fouled away.
And that's why the manager's got the tough job of protecting the players. And as athletes and as competitors, you never really want to come out of a game. And that's why the manager kind of takes that decision out of your hands for you sometimes, because in the long run, is it good for him to throw 140 pitches in this game? Is that going to have long-term effects on him, wear him down, lead to injury? You never know, but why risk it?
2-2 to Hicks.
Other than the fact that we could see a no-hitter, that would be amazing. But
no, he's not going to get 3 more innings in.
No,
he's not going to. He'd throw 150 pitches, and he'd have to throw 150 pitches. Not going to do that. But I'm just. I don't know that's automatic. He doesn't go out.
Might not matter. Drive to right center field. Cave is in the gap. Hauls it in front of the wall. Another 1-2-3 inning for Odorizzi. 6 no-hit innings.
Tonight, the Astros completed a 3-game sweep of the Tigers in Detroit today. Alex Bregman hit his league-leading 50th double of the season. It also gave him his 100th RBI of the season, and he later scored a run. That was his 100th run scored of the season. All of those happened in the 5th inning. Houston won the game 5-4. What a season for not only the Astros, but in particular, Alex Bregman.
Phenomenal year for the Astros, and Bregman should get some consideration, I would think, for the league MVP. Astudillo bounces it foul, falls behind quickly, 0-2. Astudillo, Kepler, and Adrianza. There has been no solid contact off of Severino here tonight. Mauer's infield hit in the first was a 3-hopper in a good spot. Astudillo bounced to short his first time up.
This is the first half pitcher that I think everybody saw leading up to the All-Star break, and it's a real good sign for the Yankees to see an outing like this, to see him get back to where he's been for most of the year, and hopefully build forward for their sake, build some confidence in them and also himself.
Toward the hole, Gregorius fires on the run, on target, 1 away. Bring up Kepler. You can follow the race to the postseason on MLB.tv for $25.99. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB at Bat Premium. Blackout, other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv and take advantage of this limited time offer. Here is Kepler. Grounded out on the first pitch he saw to Bird in the 3rd inning. Up and away, ball 1.
Be surprised if he throws him a slider down and in right here. I think it plays right into Max's swing. If you catch it out front, maybe do hit a double in the corner, something along those lines.
Outside now 2-0.
I don't think we'll see it here in the 2-0 count, but I like the matchup that we have in the batter's box for the chance for first solid contact tonight.
Well, I'd like to see Max get real aggressive on a fastball here, get the big end of the bat out in front.
Well, 3-0. There haven't been too many 3-ball counts. I recall one other 3-0 count. He came back to get the batter. Down the middle. Nice easy motion, to your point, Roy, earlier.
Just laid in there at 98 miles an hour in the 3-0 count.
Not a max effort. He just laid it in at 98. 4 3-ball counts for Severino. And a base hit to left. A solid single. And the Twins get their 2nd hit against Severino.
It's a beautiful swing by Max right there. Didn't try to do too much with it. Tough to get on top of a ball going at 98 miles an hour, but he, especially for a left-handed hitter, but he did that.
And that should give Max a lot of feedback on how much he can actually trust his hands and how he can let that ball travel, because he didn't try and do too much right there. He just took the barrel of the ball, stayed on top of it, and was able to catch up to 98 up in the zone. Looked almost effortless. Sometimes as a hitter you need those reminders to trust your hands. You're quicker than you think. If you put yourself in a good position with your lower half to let your hands work and you don't try and do too much, you can have a lot of good results.
Foul back. Strike.
The biggest problem that hitters have, and it happens with every hitter, is they don't trust how much time they have at the plate. And you know, the fastball coming up there, average speed, average major league fastball speed, you got about 0.4, 0.5 seconds to make up your mind, your hands to go. But you know, with Severino, it's more like 0.3 probably. But you still have time to see the ball, and you still have time, and hitters get in a hurry with their body and forget about.
Driven to the right field corner. That is down for a hit. Kepler rounding 2nd to 3rd. They're going to wave him around. The relay to the plate is bobbled, and the Twins take the lead on an Adrianza double.
And that swing by Adrianza was exactly what Justin and I were just talking about. Not much body movement to see it right here. Easy glide into the ball. Just throw the big end out in front. Actually got a changeup, and the changeup sped his bat up. He was able to keep the ball fair down the right field line. Once it bounced high with Kepler's speed, bobble or not, Kepler was going to score.
And I think Gene Glynn was sending him with how limited the amount of contact there's been. A strikeout pitcher on the mound. Even though you got Joe Mauer coming up, I think he was taking a chance there, even if he comes up with it clean, to try and score a run in a ball game. It's been hard to score runs.
Now Mauer with his near 400 batting average with men in scoring position, and he takes a strike over the inside corner. J.D. Martinez hitting .404, Yuli Gurriel .393, and then Mauer at .392. A ball, 1-1.
And to the point of why he has success in these situations, you see a guy throwing hard, and you never see a hard take. You never see that front foot come down hard. You never see his eyes move. He doesn't speed himself up to try and catch up. He tries to slow it down and shrink the strike zone and get himself a good pitch to hit.
Tapped, foul, and it's 1-2.
And as we were talking about trusting your hands, I think he trusts his hands as much as anybody in baseball. He's got one of the shortest swings. He lets the ball travel. He trusts his eyes. He's got great hand-eye coordination. Uses the whole field. I mean, It's hard to pitch to a guy like that with runners in scoring position who you know is not going to expand, not going to chase your pitch. You have to make quality pitches to get him out. You know, even if you do get him out, it's going to be a tough at bat. It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of focus, and the guys behind you benefit from that, even if he doesn't get a hit.
1-2 to Mauer. Foul back.
When you say trust your hands, and what that means to a big league hitter is that his hands are quick enough to bring the big end of the barrel to the ball without having to speed everything else up. So Joe's the best at that. His stride is under control. It's calm and relaxed. His head stays still, and he trusts that his body doesn't have to speed up in order for him to use his hands to get the big end of the bat to the ball. That's what trusting your hands means.
2-2.
So much of the time you see guys in a hurry, and that's what I was talking about a second ago, where guys don't really trust that they can wait and identify the pitch before just committing to rushing out there for fastball speed. And as hard as these guys are throwing, you actually, if you get your body relaxed in good position, you have time to see the ball and trust your hands. Let your hands work.
Ball back.
And the way it was always put to me, you know, one of the only things my dad ever said to me, teaching me how to hit, he never told me to swing hard. Not once can I ever remember him telling me swing hard. He always said fast hands. So his thought was use your hands, trust your hands. I think when guys get in trouble is when they start thinking they have to hit the ball far, and they start getting, you know, muscly. They see a guy throwing 98 miles an hour, so they, you know, they're grunting and they're swinging hard instead of just thinking fast hands and get the barrel to the ball.
Base hit, left field. Another great at bat by Mauer. Adrianza held at third. 3 straight hits for the Twins, and the Twins having better at bats after Severino had to go into the stretch position.
Watch how comfortable it is. The stride is almost nonchalant. Head stays perfectly still. His hands throw the big end of the bat to the ball.
If you don't have trust in your hands, you're not going to get to that ball. And the reason he got to hit that pitch, he laid off the off-speed pitches, the borderline pitches, and then he finally got something in the zone that he can handle. And like he seems to do, he managed to get the good part of the bat on the ball.
Adrianza advancing to third. Polanco, the batter. Down and away, ball 1.
Like we talked about in the ballgame last night, the add-ons, you know, give yourself some breathing room. This run right here.
Oh, it's a blinding glimpse of the obvious, but this is a huge run.
Yeah.
And Polanco tanks another off-speed pitch low.
I mean, every run from here on, added on, obviously is a big run against the Yankees. But especially when you get a chance with a runner on third and less than 2 out. That's when the add-on becomes a little bit more important, because the runner's sitting out there for you. You don't even have to get a hit. Just get him in here some kind of way.
99 miles per hour foul back.
And what it does for the pitching staff also, in a lineup that has multiple guys with 20 homers, you don't have to be as cautious. You don't have to be as perfect with the chance of a solo home run tying the ball game. You get yourself that little bit of cushion. You can attack those guys a little bit more. You can be on the plate a little bit more, because the solo home run isn't gonna tie the ball game. You still have a chance. So that run is as important for the offense as it is for your pitcher.
Severino sailing into the 6th, and he might not survive the inning. David Robertson getting loose. 2-1 to Polanco. Squaring to bunt. A safety squeeze perhaps, and he took ball 3.
I like that play right there. As a first baseman holding the runner on, it's almost impossible to get in and charge on a good bunt to the first base side to throw the guy out at home, because you have to hang back at the base. You're there for a pickoff throw. and then the guy's pretty quick to the plate. You don't have time to charge like you normally would on a sacrifice because you're holding that runner on. So that's a good play. It's a hard play to defend.
Another off-speed pitch swung through it to fill the count.
Wow, that's a nasty pitch right there. 3-1 fastball count. A guy throws 98. You're almost certain you're going to get a fastball 3-1. How could you not? And then he throws a nasty slider in under your hands. That's a big time pitch right there.
And that ball started right down the middle, and you're telling yourself, okay, do some damage right here, get yourself something to hit, and it looks like it's starting right there, and then it just takes off under your hands. It's unhittable. Now he's got you thinking, okay, 3-1 slider. What's he going to? 3-2.
Pulled foul.
And he threw him the same pitch, but he made the adjustment. He shortened up. You saw the big swing, 3-1, almost falling over, taking that swing, and then he gets into his 2-strike approach, knows that he has to put the ball in play, and makes a little bit of an adjustment and makes contact with it. Now you got to tell yourself, big part of the field, he's opened you up. Don't let him get you out of the way right here. You need to get back to that approach of something you can hit to the big part of the field.
Three straight hits for the Twins from Kepler, Adrianza, and Mauer. And now 3-2 to Polanco. Fouled away.
I actually like that swing right there. He's seen Severino throwing a 3-1 slider and a 3-2 slider. You can't cheat on the fastball anymore. You have to take time. Here's a trust your hands moment. No question about it. You can't jump out there after the fastball, or you're going to swing and miss a slider. You don't know where he's going to throw you. You got to look for the ball out over the plate and just trust your hands.
Trying to get out of the way. It's ball 4. Strike 3 is the call. They call Polanco out on the check swing, and on the play, Mauer goes to second base. The ball nowhere close to the strike zone, but Polanco apparently went around.
That's a really tough call right there for a hitter, because he starts and he checks. Watch, he'll check and then try to fall away from the pitch. And I think the falling away from the pitch up under his chin is what moved the bat across the plate. I thought that was a check swing. Had he not had to get out of the way of that ball up and in. You know, look at Severino. It's speaking of not wanting to come out of the ball game.
Well, he was on target perhaps to win 20 this year. He'll get at best a no decision tonight. Severino gave up a 1-out single to Kepler and won't survive the inning. Join Fox Sports North Saturday, September 15th for Minnesota Wild breakaway run Single game tickets are on sale and training camp open practice. Plus, collect water from your favorite pond, lake, river, or ice rink and bring it to XL as the Wild will once again flood the rink. For more details, visit foxsportsnorth.com/events. David Robertson is having another awesome year, equally tough against righties and lefties, and he'll try to keep this a 1-0 game.
There's only one stat you really have to look at right here. 84 strikeouts in 62 innings.
And if you're questioning why he took out Severino in this situation, it's a tough hitter trying to get the strikeout right here.
Pulled foul on the ground, 1 strike.
Aaron Boone knows the game. This is the game for the Yankees, pretty much. Those are 2 huge runs out there late in the game. And he needs an out. To Justin's point, he needs an out right here. He's got to go. He's got to decide: is it my starter, or is it I have somebody else? Because I got to have this guy.
And Boone wasn't managing the Yankees last year. Joe Girardi was, but Rosario, of course, has already hit a home run against Severino. 2 strikes now.
And 3rd time through the order, and the rest of those rules that kind of go. So he didn't want to give him another look at it, and they have 9 outs left to play with. They have 0 hits so far, so he knows that he needs to keep this game a 1-0 game right here.
0-2 to Rosario. In the dirt.
And at the same time, I like to see that fire out of Severino. He wants to be out there. That tells you that he thinks of himself as a #1 type pitcher. He's not happy that he got taken out of that game.
No, he's hot.
And he has every right to be, but at the same time, the manager manages to win the ball game and not to make players happy all the time. He does what he thinks is best in that moment to succeed.
Drilled, but foul. Just beyond the protective netting down the right field line. Game is stopped. Concern. While attempt of the fan down the right field line, we do have some good news. Mitch Garver was removed for precautionary reasons. Initial tests do not reveal a concussion. 1-2 to Rosario. Right back to Robertson. The Twins string 3 hits together to get the game's first run. Story of the game with the Twins leading going to the 7th.
Pitchers duel. Luis Severino with giving up only 1 hit through 5 innings. That was of the infield variety. He's been was dominant through 5 innings, but after a single by Max Kepler in the 6th inning, Avery Adrianza hit doubles down the right field line on a changeup, of all things. And to leave the only run of the game so far, Jake Odorizzi has not allowed a hit through 6 innings. He has been unbelievable, the best by far that he has pitched against this season, and that against a difficult Yankee lineup.
And Duhar will lead off the 7th, and one would think that Odorizzi's leash is about as far as the gap is between my thumb and forefinger right now, which is about 1 inch.
Well, he is going to pitch until he fails to get an out.
That's a pretty short leash. If somebody reaches,
it's going to be bullpen.
And part of the reason is a manager wants to reward a guy who's pitched that well. So if you get 2 guys on, or you get 1 guy on and they hit a home run, then he's set up for the loss after.
Right back to the mound, and Odorizzi will flip to Mauer, 1 away.
But back what I was saying, if he gets a runner on home run, all of a sudden he's throwing 6 no-hit innings. He takes no hitter into the 7th and gives up 2 hits, and then he's set up for the loss. So you don't give him a chance to take the loss, but hopefully we don't get a chance to see that. We can continue to get to see him not giving up hits and making us a little more nervous up here, I think.
Stanton drew a walk and struck out against Odorizzi earlier tonight. Well, the first out of the 7th inning came on just a couple of pitches, and if he can get a couple more of those, hold on. See the shift that the Twins employed with Stanton at the plate. Popped up. Forsythe over. Stanton retired on just 2 pitches.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Minnesota Twins, LLC.
And now Didi Gregorius, who has popped to second and hit a comebacker to Odorizzi. Actually, that's not true. That was not a comeback.
No, it was not.
That was a little squibber between the third base bag and the mound, and Odorizzi turned in a great play. In addition to everything else, facing this Yankee lineup, Odorizzi's had to deal with a different catcher. He and Mitch Garver went through the game plan here, and Garver left after the top of the 2nd inning. Astudillo's filled in admirably.
And I don't know if Astudillo sat in for that meeting, but that might be an argument for the non-analytics people of just go with what you see and put the fingers down and don't think about it too much, because he's done a great job throwing to the guy he originally wasn't supposed to throw to.
1 strike to Gregorius. Thought you were going to recommend in this era of opening starters that we also have an opening catcher who just catches the first couple innings, and then you bring the other guy off the bench. 1-1 to Gregorius. To left. Retreating is Grossman. 7 no-hit innings for Jake Odorizzi and a 1-0 Twins lead. Presented by Menards. Save big money. North is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by Ram. Hurry in and get a great deal during Ram Power Days. An incredible night here. It's just a 1-0 ball game, but the Yankees don't have a hit through 7 innings. And in the 7th inning, Odorizzi threw just 7 pitches. You can't take him out now.
No. I mean, he deserved to go back out there for the 7th until he failed to get somebody out. Now he deserves to go back out there for the 8th.
Robbie Grossman, Logan Forsythe, Jake Cave. In the Twins 7th against David Robertson. First pitch missing down and in ball 1. Robertson got Rosario on a comebacker to end the chance of a bigger inning in the 6th when the Twins did get the game's first run. Check swing and a strike. 1-1. This afternoon, Tampa Bay's Blake Snell had a no-hitter into the 7th. Didn't get the no-hitter, but he did get his 19th win, beating the Indians 3-1.
Going back to that Cy Young conversation we were having earlier, I mean,
he's got to be at the top of the list, doesn't he?
I'm not one of those guys that that takes the significance away from wins either.
That foul.
I know there are a lot of things that figure into a guy can get wins if he gets a lot of run support and all those kinds of things, but you know as well as I do, Justin, you're standing out there playing behind a pitcher who gets tougher and tougher as the game goes on. He gives you a chance to win. He shuts people down late in games. And there's a lot that goes into a winning pitcher attitude too.
Now 2-2.
I agree with that. You know, when we had Johan Santana on the mound, it was almost like you felt like if you scored 1, you were going to win. You know, and you have those guys that are that dominant. He would never want to come out of a game. He was never going to, you know, look like he wanted. He always looked like he wanted the ball. He wanted to be on the mound. He wanted to be in control of everything and win that ball game.
Check swing. Strike 3, says third base umpire James Hoy. 1 down. With the Minnesota Lottery, every day is game day, and tonight's Minnesota Lottery winner circle features the Leeser family. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who spent their last road trip cheering on the Twins. This traveling family won $100 in scratch tickets to be featured. Congrats. Are you game? Say I'm in. Here's Logan Forsythe. He struck out twice swinging against Severino. Check swing, strike at the knees.
And I think maybe Logan Forsythe might be the happiest guy in the Twins lineup that Severino's out of the ball game, because he had his number and he kind of overmatched him for those first 2 at-bats.
Swing and a miss again, and it's 0-2.
Well, this guy's no picnic, I'll tell you.
No, in no way. Yeah, he's got averaged more strikeouts than any pitch for his entire career, so it's not like it's an easy at bat, but you know, sometimes it's just a relief to see a different arm out there.
Yeah.
Oakland did beat the Orioles 10-0, so at stake here for the Yankees is 1 game in the wild card standings. If the Twins win this game, the Yankee lead over Oakland will be just a game. We talked about the difficulty of the Yankee schedule with 6 games left against Boston. 1-2 to Forsythe. Tap to the right side, scooped up by Torres. 2 down. Bring up Jake Cave. 2019 season tickets are on sale now. Season ticket holders Get the best seats at the best price and automatically become part of the Sweet Spot Rewards and Benefits program. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/season tickets or call 800-33-TWINS. Ball one.
When you talk about him not being a walk in the park, when he first came up, he used to tip his pitches. And I had an at bat where I knew every single pitch that was coming, and I still struck out.
Well, that curveball is one of the best. I was just going to ask you about that late break on the curveball. It's sharp,
hard downer,
and it's late.
And it doesn't. A lot of guys' curveballs, when they come out of their hand, will sort of pop up, and you see a different plane immediately on a curveball. His comes out of his arm, and he stays on top of it so well that it comes out looking like a fastball, and it just drops below your barrel every time. And then he's got some movement on his fastball. It's just late cross and doesn't allow you to have good contact if you do make contact.
Trill, that's a fair ball. It hits the sidewall. Bounces to McCutcheon. Cave digging for second, and the throw is not in time.
Oh, I love that play right there by Jake Cave with 2 out. I really like it. That is a great hustle play and a smart gamble. With 2 out, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. You can afford to make this, if it's going to be close, go. Make him make an unbelievably good throw to get you in. It was a good throw, but just not an unbelievably good one, and he got in there with a head first slide.
Replay brought to you by Carrier.
And he got in there because as soon as he finished his swing, he was thinking 2 bases right out of the batter's box. He put it into that 5th gear right away and was thinking double. He knew the situation, 2 outs. You could take a chance right there, get yourself in scoring position, and now you can score on a single instead of taking 2 hits or an extra base hit to score you off a very tough pitcher.
Astudillo's hit 2 ground balls to short. And he takes a strike on the outside corner. Up the middle, into center field, and Astudillo drives in Cave. It's 2-0.
Well, here's that sharp breaking curveball, and Astudillo, with his ability to make contact on just about anything, stays in there long enough. Hits back through the ball up the middle and finds that through the middle hole and drives in a huge run. David Robinson said, man, how can that ball find a hole? I was talking with Joel Skinner, who managed Astudillo all year this year in the minor leagues, and I was asking him about him, and I said, you know, I think this guy can hit. He's a little bit over aggressive, probably for his own good, obviously, but I think he can hit. And he said, you know what? He can hit good pitching too. The caliber pitcher doesn't bother this young man.
Strike to Kepler, now ball. Kepler started the 6th inning round, the first of 3 straight hits, knocking Severino out, getting the Twins on the board. Well, they've added another run in the 7th. Kepler to left center. A diving attempt, but no catch by Hicks. Astudillo around third. He's heading home. And the Twins lead 3-0. Great effort by Hicks. The ball kept slicing into the gap. And the Twins again with 2 outs in the 7th have 3 straight hits.
A nice job. Got himself a hanging breaking ball. Stayed on it. Looked like his approach was to go that way. And his catcher running hard all the way around for him.
His nickname is what, El Tortugo, the turtle? Never seen a turtle run so fast before. Here is Adrianza. The Twins getting 3 straight 2-out hits against one of the best relievers in the game. Inside ball 1. Odorizzi threw just 7 pitches, and now it's been a long wait, but his team has given him 2 huge runs with which to work. Now a 3-0 lead.
And regardless of the no-hitter or no-hitter, whatever ends up happening, you want to reward a guy for pitching that well against a lineup this good, and 3 runs versus 1 run obviously gives you a lot better chance. But
well, I wanted to ask you guys about, if anything, now the leash, which was so short in the 7th because of the score, now might be a little bit longer in the 8th.
I don't think so.
I think the pitch count will affect that.
That's exactly right. I think because he's at 109 pitches, I still think he's going to pitch until someone gets on base.
Down and in. In the 7th inning, if he'd walked a guy, he was coming out. I think we all agree with that, right?
No question. And I think it will be the same strategy in the 8th inning.
Okay.
And I think Paul Molitor will look and see how long he's been sitting over there in the dugout this long inning, to see if he looks as sharp as he has the whole game coming out, and it'll be a tough decision for him to make.
Trip to the mound here from Sanchez.
The walk, if he walks somebody, that's the worst case scenario for Paul making a decision, because still hasn't given up a hit. And if he walks somebody, then gives up the hit, now you bring your reliever in to face the tying run. So that he's really hoping he doesn't walk somebody, and he may have to take him out after a walk. I think he probably will. But it'd be difficult to do with still having not given up a hit.
The only argument you can have against that is a double play. If he walks him, he's set up for a double play, he can get 2 quick outs on one hitter. It's not an enviable position.
It's not really a ground ball pitcher though either. So I mean, it's tough. You just don't know.
I'll just look this up. The last single pitcher to throw a no-hitter against the Yankees, Hoyt Wilhelm in 1958.
Because the Astros did it, right?
They had 6 pitchers.
Yep.
They did it in 2003. And Odorizzi 6 outs away from doing something that hasn't been done since 1958.
Since a knuckleball pitcher did it.
2-2 to Adrianza. Check swing. And no swing and no advance for Kepler. It's 3-2 with Mauer on deck.
How do I remember the Astros in 2003 throwing a combined no-hitter, but I can't remember where I put my car keys.
You're a baseball guy.
So that's all that's rattling around up there. No wasted information, I guess.
Thank you.
Full count to Adrianza. Mauer on deck. Foul. Robertson came in and got an awfully big out in the 6th. And the first 2 outs here in the 7th came easily. Caves double. Astudillo's single. Kepler's double. Oh, a long battle here with the number 9 batter.
And Robertson knows who's on deck, and he knows that he can't afford to walk him. So Adrianza's got to be looking in the zone right here.
Up the line. Still 3-2.
I really think Jake Caves' hustle double there, hustling to second base, really got this inning going. I think that it was made a big impression on the Twins bench. That's good momentum stuff.
Yeah, that gets everybody fired up. Everybody's cheering, they're yelling. Everybody loves that kind of play.
Yet another 3-2 to Adrianza. And he finally got him on a breaking ball. Twins have added 2 more runs in the 7th inning Astudillo will catch Janko Rizzi, and they're both enjoying a moment while the Twins added 2 more runs. He's yet to give up a hit through 7 innings. He's issued 2 walks, struck out 4, got through the 7th inning on just 7 pitches. And the Menards in-game box score showing the Yankees are still looking for their first hit. The batters here in the 8th will be Sanchez, Voit, and Bird.
So if he's going to get through this thing, he's going to have to earn it, as he's earned it this far.
He's earned it thus far. You're right. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get tougher with each hitter goes up there.
Sanchez reached in a fielder's choice, walked, and stole second base. A first pitch strike.
Love that pitch. A little change up there to start him off. Last thing he was thinking about. He did that well inning before. Dropped a little slow 73-mile-an-hour curveball for a first pitch strike. It just confuses the hitter just a little bit.
In the dirt, 1-1. Only 6 pitchers, 6 individual pitchers have ever thrown a no-hitter against the Yankees. 3 of them are Hall of Famers: Cy Young, Bob Feller, and Hoyt Wilhelm. Outside a ball, 2-1.
Pretty good names on that list. If you could do anything, get your name mentioned in the company of Cy Young.
And Bob Feller.
Yep, for sure.
Strike call, 2-2.
Well, to get this far with no hits, you need some help from your fielders, and you need a little help from the umpire every once in a while, too. Nothing wrong with that.
Ironic, isn't it, that the best fielding play to keep this no-hitter intact was turned in by the pitcher himself.
I'll have to hear about that from Bert for the rest of the year.
Struck him out. 5 outs away.
Talked at the outset of the show about needing to command his secondary pitches better. The changeup has been better tonight than we've seen him all year long. Both in location and movement.
Over the inside corner, strike 1. They swing 1-1. Boyd struck out in the second, lined out to Grossman in left field. Another nice play behind Odorizzi. Two and one.
This is going to be tough. He's at 117 pitches now. We're kind of getting in that zone where I'm sure Paul Molitor's feeling pretty uncomfortable over there on the bench, letting him go too much further.
And now 3-1.
And those are the kind of pitches that really start making up a manager's mind, right? He's got that many pitches, and all of a sudden the pitches he's throwing up there are missing by a lot, missing the spots he wants to throw them to by a lot.
Bird on deck. Check swing. Ball 4. Third walk issued by Odorizzi. Close, but the right call, I think, was made. Here is Bird. Is it a fly ball to right and went down on strike swinging.
And this is exactly what I was talking about a second ago. That the walk is the worst case scenario here. If he was going to give up a base runner, I almost wish it had been a hit.
To left center field, headed towards the gap, and that'll break up the no-hit bid. Bird doubling to the deep left center field gap, and the Yankees have a run, and Odorizzi's bid for a no-hitter goes out the window. No-hitter tonight. If he had gotten it, it would have been his first big league complete game. He's never as much as gotten an out in a 9th inning in his big league career. But this, nevertheless, is one to remember. Jorge Lopez made a bid for a perfect game, and now tonight Jake Odorizzi taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning. Tonight's Coors Light refreshing finish Quite a night for Jake Odorizzi.
Well, he was just terrific. And again, we talked about the high fastballs that he throws. He had that pitch tonight, but he also had better secondary pitches, changeup and slider. He helped himself with that tremendously athletic play off the mound. Probably the best defensive play of the game.
Torres from Rogers taking strike one. Rogers stitched together 2 perfect innings in the ball game last night. Well, we asked, one would think, to get the final 2 outs here in the 8th.
And the only reason he's available is because he threw 19 pitches in those 2 innings.
Inside, nearly hit him, and it's 1-1. '66th game for Rogers.
He's been running a hot streak. You hope it continues for obviously the rest of the year, but
Foul straight back off the bat of Torres, and it's 1-2. It's been the addition of the slider that has really helped him against right-handed hitters.
That plus his command of the fastball against right-handers. He's been able to find both corners with 94, 95 with the fastball.
Breaking ball got him. 2 down.
That's the one you're talking about, Dick. The one that's just a little bit slower and has a better trajectory to right-handers.
and when guys are able to change shape and speed on their breaking ball like that, you know, you can run it anywhere from 78 to 84. You get swings and misses like that, and you know you have an above-average slider when you can get a right-handed hitter to do that.
Rogers asked to get just 1 man. He got the 2nd out. And Odorizzi got the 1st out, and the Twins still lead by 2.
America's Studio Sports Update. The Twins get ready to take on the Royals in Kansas City. Join us Thursday night. Our coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. for the Twins and the Kansas City Royals. Join us at 6:30 right here on Fox Sports North.
The last blast of summer in Kansas City. We're expecting temperatures in the upper 80s. Jake Odorizzi looking on after his best outing as a Twin, and arguably his best outing. 2 down, McCutchen at the plate, Trevor Hildenberger the batter. Or Trevor Hildenberger the pitcher. And he misses ball 1. One floats and stays inside 2-0. And Barber hearing it from the Twins dugout. last night. Hildenberger cleaned up the 9th inning quickly, getting Gregorius, Sanchez, and Voit. There's a strike. 2-1. He's done a better job with McCutchen tonight, keeping him off the bases. He's 0 for 3. Checked his swing, strike 2. And I think Barber called the pitch and not the swing.
That's why I always wonder why guys take 2-0. You get yourself in a fastball count. It doesn't happen all that often, and then you set yourself up for a 2-1 off-speed pitch.
I have no explanation for that.
3-2. Hicks on deck.
Yeah, if you get yourself at a 2-0, 3-1 damage count, most likely going to get a fastball.
And if you don't, so what?
Yeah, I'd rather take my chances of hitting the fastball and swinging and missing on a 2-0 changeup.
You're going to get a 3-2 changeup right here, Justin. I'm betting.
Struck him out. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. The Twins leading 3-1.
Night here at Target Field, and coming up we've got some great stuff to show you in our post-game show. It's Twins Live presented by CenturyLink. We need to take a closer look at this Jake Odorizzi near no-hitter, 7 1/3 innings, fantastic baseball, just the 1 hit allowed, 120 pitches thrown, and Jack Morris will help break it down for us in the post-game show. What did he see in Jake Odorizzi, and what was the talk that Jack and Odorizzi had earlier this week? Plus, Willens Astudillo and his role in a clutch RBI in the 7th inning, and the scoring from first base to show off his speed a little bit. Plus, Paul Molitor and his thoughts on a really electric night at Target Field, guys.
Thank you. It has been fun. No, how it's all going to end yet, of course, but Twins with their backup catcher having to enter the game in the 2nd inning. Odorizzi, who hadn't so much as gotten it out in the 9th inning, made a serious bid for a no-hitter. The Twins scoring runs late against the Yankees. That doesn't happen very often either. Here is Zach Britton. One and one to Mauer. 2 singles in 3 trips for Joe tonight. Grounder right side, picked up by Bird. Britton to the bag. 1 away.
Play the new Vikings scratch games from the Minnesota Lottery. With a top prize up to $100,000, it pays to be a fan.
Polanco will bat. He's 0 for 3. Britton hasn't been the same as he was before the injury issues. And in 17 prior games with the Yankees, control isn't quite as sharp. Hits are a little more frequent. The Yankee team that hopes to get Aroldis Chapman back. And then they would have a very formidable 1-2 punch from the left side.
That would be four legit closers.
Right.
That's formidable spelled F-O-U-R.
That's right. And with a capital F.
I mean, Robertson's got a ton of saves. Betances has had saves. Chapman's had the saves. Britton's one of the elite closers, had one of the best seasons as a reliever in history.
Chapman, by the way, is in Tampa. He had a workout today. The issue is his left knee, which is his push-off knee. 1-0 to Polanco. Fouled away.
You could see a little cut fastball type movement there from Zach Britton. When he was good, that ball moved everywhere, and I'm not convinced he even knew where it was going. 95 to 97, the ball would sink and sail.
And when you made contact with it, it felt like you were hitting a bowling ball.
I believe it.
Breaking ball wide of the plate, 2-1.
Just heavy, gets on you. You think you square it up, and it moves enough late, and then all of a sudden, your hands are ringing running up the line if you're even able to make contact.
2-1 to Polanco. Never made it to the batter's box. Cubs are trailing the Brewers 2-1, bottom of the 8th inning. Big game for Milwaukee. They can get the gap between the Cubs and the Brewers back to a game with a win tonight. And as we told you before, the A's have already won handily over the Orioles. So unless the Yankees come back and win this game, New York's lead over Oakland in the wild card standings would be cut back to a game.
Not that I'm cheering for either one of those teams or anything, but I just like to see those races close in the last week because it's such intense baseball and it's so fun to watch.
So much fun.
There's so much on the line. A division title if Oakland gets close enough to Houston. I mean, there's that Cubs, Milwaukee. It's great baseball.
Fouled away. For the Orioles, by the way, their 104th loss. And we have 2.5 weeks to go.
And the opposite end of that playoff spectrum, there's nothing more miserable than playing those games. I mean, you're obviously fortunate to be in the big leagues, but you're here to win, and your only goal is to win. When you leave spring training, to be looking at a season like that, it just wears on you.
Swung on, missed a strikeout. Polanco's gone for out number 2. Get us to Rosario. Saturday, every win is crucial, and it's the Dodgers and the Cardinals, or the Nationals. Hope to play spoiler with the Braves. It all happens at 11:30 a.m. Central on Fox. The Twins take on the Royals at 6 Central on FS1 and on the Fox Sports app. Trainer coming to the mound now. Britton appears to be okay. That's the last thing the Yankees need. A medical trip, no trip charged. Look at this last pitch.
Yeah, caught a little spike. 2 righties starting the game, a little different landing spot. The relievers always have to find a comfortable place to land when they come in the game.
Rosario swings at one up and in. Strike 1. StatCast AI powered by AWS. You can see Eddie hitting the ball more up the middle. The ball's hit less than 200 feet. Way out in front. 0-2.
That's what happens when a guy has a 96-mile-an-hour sinker. It'll just bear on your hands. I mean, you saw Joe Mauer's ground out. It was on a slider also. you respect so much of that movement, that late movement under your hands, and then he just flips that slider in there and you have no chance.
Roller to the right side. Rosario will run lightly to first base, and it's a 1-2-3-8 for Bray. Twins will take a 3-1 lead to the 9th inning. Hildenberger got the last out of the 8th inning, and now 3 big ones to get in the 9th, starting with Aaron Hicks. It'll be Hicks, Andujar, and Stanton. Check swing and a strike on the outside corner. Hicks started this series with a base hit. Since then, he's gone 0 for 10.
I'd like to see that extended to 0 for 11 and head on to the next series.
None of the 3 hitters, the first 3 hitters, have or hit against Hildenberger last night. Only the 4th batter to hit this inning, Gregorius, faced him last night. 1-1. Driven to right. Kepler with a diving catch in right field. Max Kepler for the first out of the 9th.
Have a night, Max Kepler. A single, a ring and double to drive in a run, and this play, line drive sinking right at him, which is the toughest dive play. It's right at his chin. If he doesn't catch that ball, he makes a terrific play. The key to that play is being committed to it right from the very beginning, and he was. He got a good break, committed to going after the ball. Made a terrific play.
And now Andujar. The backstop, ball 1. The Yankees have just 1 hit. Bird's double, driving in Voit in the 8th inning. And now over for a strike. Fire the first one 3 feet wide, the next one paints the corner.
They're always fun at bats as a hitter.
Change up, beaten foul.
And this is the guy you have to get right here, because you do not want the guy on deck to bat with a runner on base with a chance to tie the game. And he's looked good so far. He's done a good job last night, tonight. See if he goes back to that changeup right here. See if he can get a swing and miss and a strikeout over the top of it right here. You know he's got a lot of confidence because he went to it on the 3-2 pitch to McCutcheon. Got a bad swing on it there.
Poke to right, a base hit. Just stuck the bat out. Now here comes Stanton representing the tying run. Second Yankee hit. Stanton on the night, a walk, a strikeout, and a pop-up.
That swing and that at bat right there is the difference between being a 220 or 230 hitter, hitting balls constantly into the shift, and being willing to just trust your hands, let the ball travel, and just flip it the other way. And that's, I mean, that's where today's game is at.
Fastball down and away.
And that's knowing who's hitting behind you, knowing your job, your only job in that situation is to try and find some way to get on base for the big power bats behind you.
If Stanton pulls the ball on the ground to the left side, we're going to have the same situation you guys talked about before, where the pivot man on a potential double play, Forsythe has got that difficult play to make, running to the bag and then turning right to look for the throw. Inside, and it's 2-0.
And because of the power of Stanton and how hard he hits the ball, Adrianza's playing in the no double spot, close to the line. He's playing deep, close to the grass. So it's going to be, even if he gets it, it's going to be a hard double play to turn anyway.
Driven to right. Kepler is there. 2 line drive outs to the right fielder, 2 away. And Gregorius will hit. Here's the first out of the inning. Statcast, catch probability of just 26%.
Well, he's fired up, and that's, you have to take chances, you have to be aggressive, and that's how you win ball games. That's playing to win, that's not playing to not lose, and there's a difference. And there's a great play, but the work's not done yet. Now you've got one of the toughest outs in baseball right here to try and finish this thing off.
Last night, Gregorius hit a comebacker to Hildenberger for the first out of the 9th inning. Runner goes, Twins don't care. They weren't holding Andujar on. And it's ball 1 to Gregorius.
And we got Joe Mauer playing close to the line now, and the same thing as Adrianza, the last batter. You play no doubles, and what that means is there's nothing going to his left down that first base line. You want to keep the batter off second base, out of scoring position.
And now outside 2-0.
In like manner, the outfielders playing very deep. The same reason. That's what the no doubles defense has to do with the pull side line and the depth of the outfield.
And you see Joe one step from the line right there, not letting anything get past him down there.
Out in front of the changeup, 2-1.
That'll tell you the kind of confidence he has in that pitch right now. I mean, perfectly located. Even if he makes contact with it, it's going to be a weak ground ball to the right side. So 2-0 changeup. We'll see what he goes back to. 2-1 right here, but you got a bad swing on it. You go with your best. If you're going to get beat, you want to get beat by your best pitch.
Tapper to the right side. Bauer to Hildenberger. And the Twins take the series 2-1.
Well, that's showing the Yankees right there. This is a huge series for this young ball club for next year. These kids that will be back next year just handled a Yankee team that's going to the playoffs.
And a great job by Jake Odorizzi and the bullpen shutting down one of the best offenses in baseball. A couple of good wins. Now the boys head out on the road. Hopefully have a good road trip and keep this good feeling going in the last part of the season.
Anthony, the Twins have played really good baseball at home, but this series, this 3-game series where the Twins won the last 2, may stand out by season's end.
No doubt we wondered if the home record could continue against a team that had always given them trouble. It did this week as the Twins win the series 2-1. Jake Odorizzi outstanding here tonight. We'll break down his night. Hear from Paul Molitor next on Twins Live.